Well, as election season kicks off with the first phase ending, a new political controversy has erupted, and that controversy is writ large in this letter in my hands. If you've been watching the news, if you've been on social media at any point today, there's a good chance you've already seen this letter. It's a letter with the signatures of over 150 military veterans, including some former chiefs of the armed forces, who've written to the President of India, Ramnath Kovind, asking him to stop the politicization of armed forces during elections. The letter, titled "From a Group of Veterans to Our Supreme Commander," registers a strong objection to UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath's Modi ji ki Sena remark at an election rally. It also slams the use of Wing Commander Abhinandan in election posters by political parties. Remember, it's not only the BJP which used forces in their political campaigns, but the Congress, Aam Aadmi Party, AIA, DMK all featured Jawans in their posters. But the tone and tonality of this letter, since it also refers to the Balakot airstrikes as well as the surgical strikes of 2016, is pretty clearly pointed more at the BJP and the Modi government than any other single party. It's also no coincidence that this comes at this time when there have been a huge amount of buzz over politicization of the armed forces right before the 2019 election.
The political environment is such that even established institutions like the Election Commission are being more or less ignored. We feel that in such circumstances, the Commander-in-Chief should try and see that the reputation of the armed forces for total secularism, for total non-alignment with any political party, apolitical, this reputation must not be smeared or stained.
And now, like I said, the substantive issue of politicization of the armed forces that this letter very seriously alleges has somehow been sidetracked by a very serious development, which is that several persons who are listed as signatories in this letter, including the first person, former Chief of Army Staff, the very well-known General S.F. Rodrigues, have said, "We have nothing to do with the letter. We have not endorsed it. We have not signed it." Other notable persons are former Chief of the Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal N.C. Suri, also former Vice Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Milan Naidu. It's a controversy and the politics over the armed forces that has escalated over this letter, with over 150 veterans raising their objection to politicization of the armed forces during elections. The President's House, Rashtrapati Bhavan, has come on record to deny receiving any such letter, even though the senders of the letter have proven that they sent an email. A hard copy has not been received by Rashtrapati Bhavan. Well, that's not all. 3 armed forces veterans, the men on your screen, have denied signing any such letter. Former Air Chief Nirmal Chandra Suri and ex-Army Chief S.F. Rodrigues have said that their names have been used in the letter without their consent. However, Major General Sudhir Wombatkere, a well-known veteran and one of the prominent names in this list, has now shared a letter and emails claiming that Air Chief Suri had emailed him to endorse the letter to the President against the politicization of the forces. On the back of this, one prominent veteran who actually led the sending of this letter to the President has come out with screenshots of emails which he says prove that many of the people now taking a U-turn and distancing themselves from the letter actually did in fact endorse it or sign it.
Joining me now on the broadcast is Air Chief Marshal N.C. Suri, former Chief of the Air Staff. Air Chief Marshal Suri, have you signed a letter that's been sent to the Rashtrapati Bhavan about alleged politicization of the armed forces?
I have not, and I want to categorically state that my response to an ongoing thing on the email, in order to diffuse that, and also on the WhatsApp, this was coming along, some messages in this context, and I had written over there that the armed forces are apolitical and serve the democratically elected government. Please note that I am not a signatory to any letters, and nor am I a party to any kind of politicization of any remarks.
point is a very basic one. We in the services have always done whatever the government in power ordered us to do. We are an instrument of the state. And I don't believe there is any role for us to be political at all, which is why we should never be politicized.
आपका भी नाम ऐसा लिखा हुआ
है। तो मैं तो आपका नाम भी डाल सकता हूँ, क्या, what does that mean? Nothing. I don't know who it is.
बट ये इसका लेटर के बारे में आपको कुछ भी पता
नहीं है, यही तो बोल रहा हूँ।
No, so those are categorical statements there by two former chiefs, not just anybody, two former chiefs, two former four-star officers saying they had nothing to do with this letter, even though their names are number 1 and number 4, I think, on this letter, and they say they have nothing to do with the letter. But let me also say that there are many others, including former chiefs, who say, yes, we have signed such a letter. So there are some who say we didn't sign the letter, and there are at least 3 prominent former chiefs and vice chiefs who say we had nothing to do with the letter. So are there some names on this letter whose endorsements or permission or consent was not taken when this letter was composed? Is the question. The person who sent the letter says, no, we've got all the signatures, we've got all the endorsements. But this has become a political issue now because we are, of course, in election season. Take a look at what Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said in the face of the Congress taking this up to attack the government.
It is very worrying that if people's consent are not even being taken and fake letters, fake allegations are being signed by some vested interest groups, it is absolutely condemnable. And I really would like to say, at the time of election, at least fake complaints not be given. Of course, welcome to give your genuine complaints, but without taking the permission of people who are eminent citizens, eminent officers. You just include their names in the petition, it's objective.
If this isn't enough of an embarrassment for this government, I don't know what is. How Wing Commander Abhinandan's posters came up in all BJP rallies and their road rallies. Shri Amit Shah have now chosen to make this entire attack as their political narrative. And this is not the only thing. Even Aditya Nath on 31st March during his campaign rally went a step ahead and called it Modi ji ki Sena. If this isn't enough of an insult of our armed forces by the Bharatiya Janata Party, then...
At the end of the day, this letter in my hand is now the center of this entire controversy. I want to say that if you look at the contents of this letter, the politicization of the armed forces, it can be nobody's case that this is not a legitimate issue. Whether it is directed only at the BJP as this letter appears to be, or in past cases of politicization of the armed forces which have definitely happened, the fact is politicization of the armed forces, let me categorically say, is a current issue and it is a relevant and legitimate issue. But now let's look at why certain signatories to this letter have now distanced themselves and said, I have nothing to do with this particular letter. And those are luminous signatories, former chiefs of the armed forces. I'm very privileged to be joined this evening by Air Vice Marshal Kapil Kak. He's one of India's best known, most visible military affairs analysts. He happens to be one of the signatories in this letter as well. We also have Tuhin Sinha of the BJP, Adil Singh Boparai of the Congress Party. Welcome, gentlemen, and our executive editor, Gaurav Sawant. Air Vice Marshal Kak, I want to start with you first because your name is on this letter. I'm sure there must be a sense of dismay over the fact that it has become the letter that you signed has now become something else entirely, because you've got a former chief of the air staff, saying, I had nothing to do with it. I categorically say I have nothing to do with it. Even though the person who signed, who put out this letter says that they've got emails to say that the persons who are now backtracking actually endorsed it. What do you think is happening, sir?
Shiv, first of all, there is no controversy that 2 or 3 members have reinterpreted the letter, have rethought about it, and are now not in the picture is a decision they take as free citizens of a democratic country. So the essence of the letter,
yes,
and the fact that it still represents 153 people in the true sense of the term does not detract from the criticality of the letter.
I agree.
And in no terms can it be called a fake letter, as the Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman just said it and you played it on the TV. That's the first point. The second point is that conflict is Trinitarian. Armed forces are created by the state to indulge in force application and war to save and safeguard the interests of the country. And for this, they are funded, they are controlled. Armed forces are commanded and controlled at the apex level by the government, which is duly elected. I don't think this letter in any way questions the bona fides of the government. What we are not able to understand, and I think this is also a problem with the media, they are not able to disaggregate on the one side government
and a political party.
And the political party.
Okay, I get what you're saying. That's going to be my second question. I just want to go to this one at a time, because I want to try and segregate it so we discuss this threadbare in the time that we have available. Gaurav, you spoke to Air Chief Marshal NC Suri, who categorically said, I have nothing to do with this letter. I just want to get to, and Air Vice Marshal Kak, I want you to be absolutely sure, nowhere is India today saying that this is not a legitimate issue, or that the contents of this letter do not encompass a legitimate live issue before the elections. Let me categorically say that. But Gaurav, with two former chiefs saying we have nothing to do with it, that's something that can't be ignored.
No, it certainly cannot. And two former chiefs, their names are number 1 and 5 on that list. So the number 1 on that list says, I do not endorse this. I know nothing about it. I had nothing to do with it. Nobody asked me about it. He's saying this is fake news. So that is what General Rodrigues, ex-army chief, says. That's point 1. Point 2, I spoke at length to Air Chief Marshal NC Suri. He's someone I've interacted with even earlier. And I asked him, so was this some WhatsApp group conversation, that you were having some kind of banter, some kind of conversation? Did they seek your endorsement, that they will use your name in a letter that will be written to the president? And he's categorically said no. In the face of it comes this email that's been put out, by a group that calls itself a pressure group. I also spoke to Major Chowdhury, and Major Chowdhury says we are in a political pressure group. So Air Vice Marshal Kak is part of a pressure group of veterans, and he says that categorically they asked Air Chief Marshal NC Suri and General Rodrigues, and both of them said it's okay to put their names in a letter. They endorsed that letter that's being written to President of India in that email. So there is a big disconnect in what was written and the email that is now being put out. So perhaps it's only forensics that will establish, who's speaking the truth.
Just a short while ago, someone criticized me, perhaps legitimately on social media, saying that you're focusing on the 3 officers who have distanced themselves from the mail, from this letter, but you're not talking about the actual substance of the letter. So let me say it again for clarity's sake, legitimate issue. But I am just saying that it cannot be ignored that 2 former chiefs. Are we to say that SF Rodrigues and NC Suri are liars, or that they have no integrity, or that they have no spine, that they would give their name to something like this and then simply say, Bhaiya, we have nothing to do with it? Adil Singh Boparai, the Congress has gone to the Election Commission on the issue of politicization of the armed forces, which is a legitimate issue. Defense Minister of the country says it's fake news, and also the 2 chiefs, 2 former chiefs and a couple of other officers saying that we had nothing to do with this. Apart from the politics of it, Adil, what do you think is going on?
Well, Shiv, firstly, I'm glad that you're discussing it, but you're framing the wrong question. There are more than 150 veterans who've signed, and I have seen the email. I've seen the email which is available on the news portals. General Rodrigues and Admiral Suri have said that we endorsed it, but I don't want to go further because I don't want to put them in a prickly situation. I want to correct Gaurav that this is not an alleged politicization anymore. After Adityanath's comment, the EC has indicted him. So this is no longer alleged. It is conclusive. Number 2. Number 3, I think the media is also going wrong somewhere. I have the greatest of respect for Shiv, for you and Gaurav, but the fact of the matter is we don't need forensics to establish whether 2 signed or didn't sign. This is nitpicking. You're missing the woods for the trees.
No, but these are 2 chiefs. These are 2 chiefs,
when a sitting
Adil.
chief minister says that the Indian army is Modi ji's army, hear me out, Shiv, hear me out, hear me out.
Finish.
When a sitting chief minister says that this is Modi ji's Sena, when the prime minister says that this is my appeal to the first time voters, that vote for those who had carried out the Balakot strike. Do you need any more proof or evidence that this is blatant and egregious politicization of our forces in the face of the circular which has been issued by the EC?
Adil, quick point.
Thinking people like Gaurav, you and I don't speak in unison and condemn this government, condemn the BJP, they will continue with their shameful antics.
Point made. I'll bring in Tuhin now, but since you said that we're framing the wrong question, I just want to tell you one small thing, Adil. Yesterday I was reporting from Hyderabad, and my show, in case you missed it, was on how the Election Commission had sent a notice on communal messaging to KCR, and the framing of my question is, if you can send a notice to KCR, why haven't you sent a notice to Yogi Adityanath? And the next day the Election Commission has sent a notice to Adityanath. So please trust me when I say that India Today is the only channel that is not biased. We don't take sides. We don't take sides with any party. We will question whoever does any kind of communal messaging. I just want to say that, Adil. I know. I'm just saying, please don't question us on framing of the question.
Don't get me wrong.
Understood.
I am saying you're framing the wrong question.
Got it. No. We are not asking any questions. We're saying our show is called Veterans versus Netas, and that is what the essence of this is. The essence of this is veterans versus Netas. The veterans are angry, and like I've categorically said, this is a live and current issue. I am merely saying that this is something that cannot be ignored. That's all I'm saying.
Get distracted by
Tuhin, okay, Tuhin.
We can't allow ourselves to get distracted by
Tuhin, the Congress will say, the Congress and some will say that three persons in this letter, out of 150 or more, have come out for whatever their reasons are to say that we had nothing to do with this letter, but that the BJP is calling it fake news because it has found an escape route with these three chiefs saying we have nothing to do with this letter to dodge a legitimate issue like politicization of the armed forces. Tuhin.
So Shiv, at least I won't accuse you of asking me the wrong question. But anyway, you have till now 3 people have come out. I'm sure more will come out, and by the end of the day, maybe you'll have a handful of people who supported the letter. But please also know what kind of special toxic talent it takes to produce a fake letter in the name of armed forces. I mean, and whose hallmark is producing this letter politics? Whose hallmark is it? It is the same people who produced letters at one point of time, writing to the US president that Modi ji should not be. No, please, I don't appreciate this interference. You've shouted enough. Let me speak now. So, at one point of time, these people wrote to the US president saying that Modi ji should not be given a visa. Then they produced some economists saying that data is being shielded.
So what is the allegation? Are you saying the Congress is behind this? That is more politicization.
Party. In fact, even today, early in the morning, the Congress tweeted from its official handle saying that this is a clear indictment of the Modi government. Even if the letter is genuine, even if it is actually written, does it at any point of say it is indicting the Modi government?
Okay.
Do you remember the interview of Rahul Gandhi at a press conference addressing some fighter pilots? He said if Modi did not give this money to Anil Ambani, this money would have been used for you when you died. Is this the language that Congress uses in today?
I want to
moral high ground.
I want to bring Air Vice Marshal Kak back in. I want to bring Air Vice Marshal Kak back in because Air Vice Marshal Kak, the Congress says that this letter is an indictment of the BJP and the Modi government, even though there are many signatories to this letter saying that this is not targeted at the BJP but at governments in general and politicization. What would you say to the Congress and what would you say to the BJP, because they both are using this letter to hit each other now?
No, as an elder in India, I would appeal to both the parties to move away from the horribly coarse debate, which I have never seen in any previous elections. I have seen many elections. Now this is the time, and that's why there is an association more with the ruling. In fact, the word used here is also the ruling party. Ruling political party. It is not hinted at the government at all. So ruling political party has done far more, and I am an activist group, but I am just like India Today, unbiased and not political at all. So this has been my life all through.
Yes,
so I want to clarify to my dear old friend on this issue. We take cudgels on behalf of the Constitution. Is that being political? I mean, if you respect the Constitution and fight for its supremacy in public platform, Please tell me what's wrong with that.
No,
Coming back to what you raised, the question is, why does the apex, top level leader in this country say to the people who are going to make a huge difference in the elections, people who are going to be first time voters, that when you cast your first time vote, please cast it in the name of Balakot and the martyrs of Pulwama. Now, when he speaks at an electoral gathering, he is not speaking as the Prime Minister of India. He is speaking as a party leader. So therefore, this is what I am saying. For him, it's an extremely difficult job.
Okay.
He has to decide at what point of time, is he the party or is he the government?
Okay.
At another time, what is he? Once he faces large gatherings in election campaign, he is a party leader.
Okay.
Therefore, number one. Number two, I know other parties have also done it occasionally, but wearing of battle fatigues has become almost, de rigueur all over. You wear battle fatigues with the army wears.
The fact that elections have begun have made this letter, have a much larger impact there. Everybody is looking at this letter right now. Veteran anger, veteran misgivings about politicization of the armed forces has been there for a long time, and now it has actually come to a head. We're completely out of time, but I can tell you that Gaurav's going to be taking this up on his show a little later, where we will take this story forward as well. Vice Marshal Khan?
I want to just make 10 seconds.
Quick 10 seconds.
And that's also for Gaurav, that this is not an easy issue. It's an extremely grave issue, because this should put an end to any attempts in the future.
Okay.
Because I don't think India is going to be better.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Either way.
It should not be the young 20 years from now who make the army routinely or armed forces routinely politicized.
We're going to continue reporting on this letter. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. Apologize, I couldn't take more questions. I was out of time. But like I said, this is a story that we're going to stay on very, very closely. Gaurav's going to be taking it up on his show a little later as well.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.